Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take your information, really dig in, and help you get right to the core fast. So you're, always in the know.
And today we're diving into something pretty unique, a celebration called Shiv Jayanti.
Right. And our source material for this is a transcription of what are called a morning Murli. That's like a daily spiritual talk, right? This one's from March 7th, 2005.
Exactly. And our mission really is to understand what this celebration actually means for the people involved. We want to unpack its significance, maybe find some surprising details, and just get a clearer picture of the philosophy behind it.
Yeah, get beyond the surface level. And as usual, you've got the two of us. I'm here asking the questions, trying to connect these ideas to, well, everyday stuff.
And I'll be offering a bit more analysis, trying to put it all into a broader context.
And the thing that jumped out at me straight away about Shiv Jayanti was this concept of a simultaneous birthday, like for the father figure Shiva and the followers, the children as they're called. It happens at the same time. That sounds, well, different, very different. So let's get into it.
Absolutely. And this simultaneous birthday, it's not just some, quirky detail. It really changes the whole relationship with the divine, you could
Yeah.
say. It makes people active participants, not just passive worshipers.
Active participants. Interesting.
Yeah, it suggests this shared destiny, a deep connection that maybe goes beyond what you find in typical religious setups. So Shiv Jayanti, according to this Murli, is about celebrating complete purity and letting go of the ego, that I feeling.
Okay, the I consciousness.
Right. And the really unique part is the belief that the Father, Shiva, and all the spiritual children, they celebrate their birthday together on this one single day in the whole cosmic cycle.
Just one day in the whole cycle.
That's what the source says. It's described as alaukic, which means like unique and lovely, something that's never happened before, never will again in exactly the same way.
Wow, that's quite a claim. So everyone's celebrating together. But Shiva is called the incorporeal father. Can you unpack that a bit? What does incorporeal mean here, and how does it connect to a birthday celebration?
Good question. So the understanding here is that Shiva doesn't have a physical body of his own. He's formless and corporeal.
Right.
So the celebration isn't marking a physical birth like we think of it. Instead, it's commemorating Shiva's incarnation within the body of another figure, Father Brahma.
Ah, okay, so it's like a divine presence entering someone, a vessel.
Kind of, yes, like entering a specific vehicle for a particular purpose. And that incarnation, that event, is what Shiv Jayanti is really honoring.
Okay, that clarifies things. So with this shared birthday idea, the Murli asks this really pointed question to the followers, and I guess to you listening. Are you celebrating the father's birthday, or is it your own birthday?
Mm.
Are you the one congratulating, or are you receiving the congratulations? That's not just a clever phrase, is it?
Yeah. No, not at all. It cuts right to the heart of a promise. The followers are understood to have made a promise to stay united with the Father.
A promise.
Yeah. So this shared birthday, it's not just about where they started. It signifies this ongoing intertwined journey. And this all happens during what's called the confluence age.
The confluence age, okay.
This is seen as a really special time in the whole cycle of time when this incarnation of Shiva is believed to happen. It's marked by, well, the combined company, the Father, Shiva through Brahma, and the children. They appear together. They have this joint task of transforming the world.
The joint task.
And they share the destiny of returning home, spiritually speaking, together. It really hammers home this deep sense of like shared purpose and shared beginnings.
Okay, so it's clearly a very active, involved kind of celebration for these followers. And the Murli, it contrasts this with how, other devotees might celebrate, maybe just calling out prayers, singing songs.
Right, the more external forms.
Yeah. It sounds like for the followers in this source, the real celebration is much more internal, transformative.
Exactly that. For them, celebration isn't just about the outward stuff. It's an inner commitment to becoming more like the Father, in their qualities.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating and, importantly, sustaining this constant zeal and enthusiasm.
Sustaining it.
And there's this really powerful phrase used in the Murli. This constant enthusiasm is called the breath of Brahman life.
The breath of Brahman life. Wow. That's intense. It makes it sound absolutely essential.
It is presented that way. Like breathing, it's necessary to sustain their spiritual life.
So practically speaking, how do they, keep that breath going? How do they maintain that enthusiasm?
Well, the Murli suggests it comes from really understanding their connection to the Father and the importance of this specific time, the confluence age. It's fueled by remembering, by the joy of being part of this world transformation project.
Okay.
And there's an interesting point made that the father, who's often called Babdata in this context, yeah, it's a term combining Shiva and Brahma. So, Babdata is said to feel even more joy seeing the children's spiritual progress their birthdays, in this sense, than in his own celebration.
Really? More joy in the children's progress.
That's what the text says. It speaks volumes, I think, about the kind of relationship being described here. Very nurturing.
That is a touching detail.
Mm.
Okay, so then the Murli talks about a fast of purity linked to Shiv Jayanti. Now, this isn't just about not eating for a day, is it?
No, definitely not. For these followers, this fast of purity is described as a lifelong thing, a commitment to complete purity. And it goes way beyond just physical aspects.
Lifelong. Yeah.
And what's really key here is the focus on what's called the fast of the mind.
A fast of the mind. Okay, that sounds fascinating. Tell me more about that.
It means consciously choosing not to have certain kinds of thoughts, like waste thoughts, negative thoughts, impure thoughts.
Actively filtering your thoughts.
Pretty much. It's a continuous practice.
Yeah.
Cultivating and holding on to an elevated mental attitude. The Murli is very clear. Your attitude directly shapes how you see things, your vision, and then naturally how you act.
Attitude influences vision, influences action. Makes sense. And it mentions a specific technique for this. Focusing on the sparkling soul in the center of the forehead when you interact with people. Why there?
Right. This practice is meant to reinforce their core belief that the soul is the real person, the eternal part, not the physical body.
Okay.
So by deliberately looking at that point between the eyebrows, often seen as the soul's location, the aim is to connect directly, soul to soul.
Skipping the physical appearance in a way.
Exactly. And this kind of interaction, it's believed, helps you maintain that pure attitude yourself, and it also helps create a better, more spiritually elevated atmosphere around you.
An elevated atmosphere.
Yes, and the Murli point out a double benefit. It helps your own effort, your own purity, but it also acts as a kind of service, because that positive atmosphere you create can supposedly influence others, even those with, let's say, negative tendencies.
Transformative potential just through attitude and focus.
Yeah.
That's a powerful idea. But then it also mentions a common problem, doesn't it? Followers getting pulled down by the negativity around them instead of holding their own positive space.
Yes, that's a challenge highlighted, like trying to stay warm in a cold room, as you put it earlier.
Yeah.
It points to the need for constant inner strength,
Yeah.
spiritual resilience. And the Murli also touches on appreciating help and talents from others and says, while that's fine, remember that your own spiritual progress, your attainments, are ultimately seen as Prabhu Prasad.
Prabhu Prasad, meaning?
Gifts from God. So the reminder is not to forget the ultimate source, the bestower, even while you appreciate cooperation from people around you.
Keep the focus on the ultimate source. Got it. Then the Murli pushes for like a deeper self-check. It says, look beyond the big obvious vices and find the subtle ones. It compares them to little children that you might still be attached to. I thought that analogy about householders loving their grandchildren was quite striking. Those small attachments can sneak up on you.
Oh, absolutely. It really speaks to how subtle spiritual growth can be. Getting rid of the big stuff is one level, but the real refinement comes in dealing with those deeper, maybe even unconscious attachments or habits.
Right.
And the Murli identifies the root cause of all these vices, the big ones and the little ones, as that I of body consciousness, that limited sense of self based on the body.
That I again.
Yeah. It leads to things like arrogance, anger, and the ultimate solution proposed is to sacrifice this limited I, basically surrender it to the Father.
Sacrifice the I. Okay. But this isn't presented as some massive, difficult new task, is it? It seems the Murli reminds them they've done this before.
Exactly. It brings in the idea of the cycle of time again. The belief is that these souls have actually reached a state of completion many, many times in previous cycles.
So it's like they know how to do it already.
In a sense, yes. They are becoming what they have already been. It's framed as simply repeating the predestined drama. Like you're reenacting a story where you already know the ending is good.
Okay, like rerunning a familiar script.
That's a good way to think about it.
Right.
And this ties into a really central promise, a core concept of this path, the blessing of the confluence age. Easy effort.
Easy effort. We keep coming back to that.
It's key. The belief is that during this special confluence time, the spiritual work needed becomes significantly easier, less laborious. And this ease then translates into an easier, happier life for the next 21 births in the cycle.
21 births of an easier life because of effort now.
That's the understanding. The Murli contrasts this with the previous 63 births in the cycle, which are seen as periods of hard work and struggle. The idea is that God, the Father, has come specifically to liberate them from all that striving.
Liberation from labor.
Yes, and there's this beautiful line connecting it all. Where there is love, there is no labor, and where there is labor, there is no love.
Where there is love, there is no labor. That really reframes the whole idea of spiritual practice, doesn't it? It's not supposed to be a grind.
Precisely. If it feels like hard work, maybe the element of love is missing.
So, how do you cultivate that love, the kind that makes effort feel easy?
Well, the text introduces the mantra of man-manapav.
Man-manapav.
It essentially means constantly remember me being the Father. It's about cultivating a state of being absorbed in that divine love and remembrance.
Okay, so remembrance is the key to love, which is the key to easy effort.
That's the connection being made. And building on this, the Murli encourages this really strong self-belief. It says to affirm, I have to become that. If I don't become that, who would? I was that, I am that, and I will be that every cycle.
Wow, that's quite an affirmation. Very powerful.
It is. It's about reinforcing your own inherent potential and remembering the cyclical nature of it all. You've done it before, you can do it again. And the emphasis is definitely on now. Don't postpone it. Act now.
Right, seize the moment. Now, this Shiv Jayanti celebration, it's not just happening in one place, is it? The Murli talks about it being global.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
It paints this picture of a huge worldwide spiritual family. The Father is aware of all the children, whether they're physically close or far away. It mentions receiving birthday greetings, cards, emails, even thoughts from all over the world.
A real sense of connection, then.
Definitely. A very interconnected community.
And there's that lovely bit about a mutual exchange, like back and forth appreciation.
Yes. The children say things like, Baba, you performed wonders, acknowledging the Father's role. And then the Father reflects it back, saying, you sweet children have performed wonders. It shows this mutual respect and acknowledgement.
That's nice.
And the Murli stresses that everyone involved in this spiritual path, this yakya, as it's called.
Yeah, the spiritual effort.
Right, the collective spiritual endeavor. Everyone in the yaga celebrates this birthday. Doesn't matter if they just learned about this knowledge yesterday or if they've been practicing for, say, 20 years. Everyone's included.
Inclusive. And it sounds like there's ongoing support, too.
Very much so. The text talks about constant sustenance through blessings. Like giving and receiving blessings is just a natural, easy part of their life.
And blessings cover everything.
Seems so. Yoga, knowledge, dharna, it's like internalizing the knowledge and service to others. It's all encompassed. Murli even gives specific congratulations to those who've been on the path a long time, mentioning 20 years in this case, and also acknowledges people who traveled from many different countries. 69 are mentioned for this particular event, highlighting that global reach again.
69 countries represented back in 2005. Okay, so there's a specific blessing given on Shiv Jayanti itself, isn't there? To be easy effort makers.
Yes, that's the special blessing for the day. Ties right back in, doesn't it?
It really does. Easy effort again.
And this blessing directly links that easy effort with getting things done quickly, achieving success swiftly. It contrasts it with things that take a lot of labor, a lot of time, and struggle.
Makes sense. Easier is faster.
Right. And the encouragement is, remember this blessing when you go back to your normal life. If you hit a task that feels really hard, really laborious, just call out to the Father, Baba, my Baba. And the belief is that this connection, this remembrance, will make the task feel easier.
Like accessing help.
Something like that. And there's another related blessing mentioned too, to make an economical budget of all your treasures.
An economical budget, like spiritual finances.
Exactly. It uses that analogy.
Yeah.
Just like you're careful with money in your household budget, be mindful and, well, economical with your spiritual resources.
Spiritual resources being
Your thoughts, your words, your inner powers, your time, don't waste them. To be a refined effort maker means using all these spiritual assets purposefully. Nothing wasted.
Okay, so it's about being intentional, mindful with your inner resources.
Precisely. Refined effort makers are those whose thoughts, words, actions, even the power derived from their knowledge are never squandered. Always effective.
Got it. Then the Murli shares a slogan to take away. Become filled with the treasure of love and give everyone love and receive love. Simple, but powerful.
Very direct. All about love. And then finally it gives something called the Avyak signal. What's that about?
Ah, the Aviac signal. It's like subtle guidance, spiritual direction. For this occasion, the signal was to imbibe the personality of spiritual royalty and purity.
Spiritual royalty and purity, yes. And that Murli explains why this is important. It says the power of purity makes a person supremely worthy of worship, or at least deep respect. It has the power to transform the impure world around them. It can offer comfort, like cooling down souls who are burning in the fire of vices.
Cooling them down.
And ultimately, it helps liberate people from the bondage of those vices, those negative patterns. It even links this purity to the foundation of a better world from the Copper Age onwards in their cycle, and encourages listeners to basically wear their crown of the light of purity.
Worth a crown of light. A strong visual. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. We've taken a deep dive into Shiv Jayanti through this 2005 Murli. Key things seem to be this incredibly unique, simultaneous birthday,
Father and children together.
this intense focus on inner purity, transforming yourself, letting go of the ego,
Right, the fast of the mind.
and this whole concept of easy effort. That spiritual progress doesn't have to be a struggle if it's fueled by love and remembrance.
Absolutely. And the constant flow of blessings, that mutual support system.
So becoming an easy effort maker seems like a central goal. It really invites you, the listener, to think about where in your life you might be making things harder than they need to be.
Yeah, it's a good reflection point. Could a shift in attitude, maybe connecting more deeply with your own inner resources, or in their terms, the Father, bring more ease?
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. What might happen if you consciously tried to cultivate that pure attitude? If you really focused on seeing the sparkling soul, the inherent goodness in others during your day-to-day interactions, how might that shift things?
And perhaps reflect on that idea of Prabhu Prasad, too. Where do your own gifts, your own talents and abilities really come from? Recognizing the source. Lots to think about.
Definitely. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.